Why, hello everybody. This is Miss Janice, and I'm so thankful that you decided to join me here. I've been asked to go over the Oregon Health Licensing Agency application. Well, it's a module, and this right here is, of course, you can see right here, or I'll put my finger there. You can see right here, this is the alphabet sound chart. And what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you all the way that I learn a lot of the things that I do. And you can tell that it's sharing because it says it right here, stop sharing or hide. And the reason I wanted to show you that is because I want to teach you how I teach. Now, when my little ones were little, of course, I was into nursing and I was like doing the body parts, like the phalanges, meaning fingers, the abdomen, which is stomach, like that. And I was teaching them according to what they already possess or what they already have. G, because a G reads a J and a G. So that's right here. And I would say G, glutamus maximus, G. Glutamus maximus is behind us. So I was telling them or demonstrating at the same time what I was saying. Like, ooh. So when you have a mouth, and I would say roof of the mouth, and then I will point to it. Tongue, tongue, and then you stick it out. Have them stick their tongue out. Uh, underarm. See, underarm. So it is like as they're little, or when children are little, they learn by what you show them. And I'll give you an example. They get to an age where they say like, and they're little, they're itty bitty, but they get to an age when they begin to ask you, "What's this?" And then you say, "Ball. It's a ball, baby. Say ball." Well, that's when they're learning how to read. And so what I did at the age of 2 for my littlest one, and 7 for my oldest one, I just taught them words like that. And at the age of 7, my little girl was in the second grade, I believe, reading at a seventh grade level, and she liked Indian in the cupboard or action, where you can really use their imagination. Okay, so what I began to do was I began to take them into my world, and by doing that, um, it makes me know better how to teach grown-ups how to teach their children, because you're adding them into what you are doing. I really and I really like the way our Father teaches me how to teach, because it brings the individual that you're teaching into my world. Let me give you a grown-up example of that. There was a young lady, I think she was 70, in her 70s, I'll put it that way. And she realized that she was forgetting. She realized that she was forgetting. And she told her daughter that if there was somebody that would teach me how to read the Bible, I know that I will learn how to remember. I just know that. I just believe that. You know, and so her daughter didn't think that there was going to be anybody to teach her how to read the Bible. But what she did was she asked my mom. She said to my mother, Bishop Grace Catherine Schultz Osborne, you probably know her, or if you haven't heard of her, look her up. She's like 93 this year, and she still drives, she still preaches, teaches, called out to minister, CEO, the founder of, I mean, she's out there and she's on the internet. Her name is Bishop Grace C. Osborne. She is the senior pastor of Grace Covenant Fellowship Church. And that's what she told me. She basically told me when I was going to school, Jan, you'll get A's if you read the Bible before you go to school. Now, it made sense because at the time that I was getting my A's in school, I graduated when I was 16, but I didn't know, I knew this because the Bible was always read to me. So I was in the kindergarten. I got skipped from the kindergarten to the first grade. Then when I went to the first grade, I just knew stuff because the Bible was always read to me. And so when that analogy came from my mother, and then the lady found me because she had told her daughter, she had made this statement to her daughter that if I could learn how to read the Bible, I would get my memory back. It was sort of those types of words. And then the daughter went to my mom and said, I know there's probably, you probably don't know anybody, but my mom said that if she could read the Bible, if she can get someone to teach her to read the Bible, that she would get her memory back. And my mom said, yeah, I know somebody. My daughter teaches people how to read. And what do we learn how to read? The Bible. Okay. So what I did this time is I compared, not necessarily reading the Bible, but I compared knowing how to read or learning how to read with what I am learning. Because see, the Bible to me was at a time very hard to understand, but I would read it. And with little ones, reading is hard to understand, but if you bring it into something that you are learning, if you are learning this, as you can, you'll probably be able to see, I already know this because I have my license and I am a licensed natural hair care practitioner. And the way that I got my license is the way that I'm showing you how to do this right now. I learned, I went over this, and that's what you do with your little one. You send them daily, just go over this before you read anything to them. Anything. I mean, anything. Like right here, I have all of the stuff that we're working on. And little ones like repetition. That's how they learn. Repetition. You have to motivate them, encourage them. So it's repetition, motivation, association. And see, one of the things that will get you to teach your child how to read is you're teaching them what you're doing. When the young man, it was young man and young lady talked to me about how I got my license. I told him I went over this module, this one right here. I'm pointing to it. Let me do it with my mouse. I went over this module right here about 4 times. After the 4th time, I said, I'm going to get my license. And my sister took me to get to Salem to take the test. I passed the test. And so far, everybody that has learned from me has passed the test. Okay? So the same thing or the same rule applies to this piece of paper right here. If you make your child an alphabet sound chart, they will learn how to read within 1 month. If you want 1 month, if you go over this chart every day. And remember, I talked to you about the promised 15 minutes. And you're taking this with you before you go to the store. You're giving them the opportunity to get a bag, bag, bag. And so the way that you do this is you take a deep breath and you write it down. Okay, now let me show you what I mean. And of course, if you know anything about the Osborne Learning Academy, the Outside Learning Academy, the Proofly learning system, it's like everything you learn, you know that it takes a little bit of time. And the reason you're starting with 15 minutes a day is because this is focused time. This is a time to focus on what your child is learning or what you as the parent is teaching your child. Your child will not only learn how to read, she or he will learn how to write, or they will learn how to write, or they will learn how to do math. It's because it's a focused time, 15 minutes. So one of the natural examples that I can give is I'll be texting somebody and I realize that it's a long text. It's like this text is getting kind of long. So I'll text, are you callable? Can I call you? And so if you look at my table, I have obeying God's word, but this is a activity book for children, and you can see the different ages here. I have some hidden secrets here, and this is like history, and it just talks about regular stuff, and it says the small large-eared fennec fox roams the desert of North Africa and the Holy Land. The words are small, they're not hard. It's talking about animals, gives a little history about it, who illustrated it, gives a did you know at the bottom. The words are not too hard. This is teaching you how to remember. This is logic, but it's also biblical. You see, there's a scripture right here. Okay, and there's a pile of them. Some of them I haven't even opened yet. This right here is our gift box. So whoever gets certain things in the activity receives a box. Okay. When you're getting ready to open a project or start a project, you leave it closed. This is math. This right here is math. Of course, you're going to have your pencil, pens, and crayons. But I also, if you can see in here, this is under the table. These are the colored crayons. If you look a little bit further, you can see our workbooks here. So what I'm doing is showing you my setup of my portable classroom. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. It's not letting me show you. Oh, there it is. So you can see my little cubby holes. And all of these that I'm showing you right now, these are boxes that have information in them down here. This is work cubicles, little cubes that you can put stuff in. I'm just showing you my surroundings for teaching, okay? Of course, you're working on a computer. And then to my left, immediate left, let me move this up a little, are all of the things that we're going to really work on. This is for learning and teaching how to read and write. If you're going to be teaching your children how to hold a spoon or a fork, whatever one you want them to write with, whatever one you want them to write with, whatever one you want them to eat with, because this right here, this position of your hand teaches your child how to write. It's the rule of thumb is if your little one can hold a spoon or a fork the correct way, they're ready to write. So if they don't know how to hold a spoon or fork the correct way, what you're going to be teaching them is how to read. You teach them how to read first, and you teach them according to the age that they are. Everyone starts here, even if you're in the 12th grade. You start here, and the reason you're going to start here is because if you can say, I already know that. If those words can actually come out of your mouth, then you're at the age where you can teach somebody something. Okay. These are objects that you can learn with. Threading needles helps to learn how to write. Putting thread through this helps to learn how to write, because there are techniques that you use, and you can transfer transfer techniques to writing. Okay. Anytime there you see lined paper, it's called the art of writing, because when you draw, if you learn how to write, you learn how to draw. If you learn how to make an H, a lowercase h, that right there can be a ladder, a chair. You learn how to write a capital H. You can draw a ladder. If you learn how to make a C, you can teach the individual how to make a half or a quarter of a moon. If you learn how like that, so that's the art of writing, because you can draw if you learn how to write certain letters. If you know how to make a V, you can make a flower. If you learn how to the stem of a flower. If you know how to make a capital O or a lowercase o, you can learn how to create the rose petals, like that. Okay, I said the wrong letter though. It's just U, a capital U. Okay, this right here, anytime you get puzzles together, you can learn how to do math. You can learn how to add. You can learn how to subtract. You can learn how to average. You can learn how to multiply. You can learn how to divide. Hold on. Good thing it went away. I almost erased it. Okay, and then you can learn how to count. You can learn your vowels. You can learn, at any age, you can do all these things if you have a piece of paper that looks like this. And the reason being is because you can call them digits if they're numbers, letters if they're words. You can learn the number placements. You can learn the capital letters. You can find them because you have this chart right here. See, our children are very, very smart, very, very intelligent. It's when we begin to say you don't know nothing, you can't learn anything, you are just like, but the way that we say it. Now, when somebody tried to make me feel bad one day, and they said the only reason why you're doing it is because she's your mother, and I was like, wow. But the way they said it, it was like the enemy meant it for evil, but God turned it around for good. Because I was like in 12th heaven that whole day and still am every time I even try to tell the story. I was like, wow, they know that she's my mom. I mean, like, who does that? God through me. Okay, so look at this. See, we have a sound chart, correct? Capital and lowercase. So what you do is, see, they don't know how to read sounds yet, but they learn first how to recognize sounds, not recognize letters. This is the sound chart. This chart teaches your children how to read. Okay, we did upgrade it, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But the reason I'm having this up here at the same time is because, see, it changes. If you click Natural Hair Care Practitioner License, you can see it right there. See, all I'm doing is clicking. Natural Hair Care Practitioner. This training has a one-time fee of $150. At the end of your training, you will receive a module certificate sent to your email address, which you'll copy. And that's what you need when you go to take your test. You have to prove or have proof, because it's at the end of every module. So that's why it's sent to you. You have to prove or you have proof that you took the module, that you went through the module, that you studied the module. Okay, so we're on the 4th page. I know what I'll do. I'll take this and I'll just move it, so you can get a better look at what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can bend this closer. a little crooked. There you go. And y'all gonna have to let me know if it's light enough, because if not, then I'll let you. Let me see if I can. Oh, when I have to send it out. But anyway, so we have this, right? This is one of our reading lessons. And what I'm doing now is showing you just the first part of learning how to read. But I'm showing it to you in such a way that if your little ones come around, you can be excited about becoming a natural hair care practitioner, so that they will be excited about reading. You'll say things like, the same letters that are on my page are on your pages. Let's find one. Or the same sounds that are on my page or on your page. This is a capital T. Capital T. See, does it look the same? T. This is a lowercase. Can you find it? And then you take their little finger. Can you find it? Can you point to it? And you see, here's your hand with their little finger. Very good. You're doing it the first few times. But before you get to this part right here, you're going over the sounds. Let's go over the sounds. A, B, K, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, A, P, K, R, S, T, A, V, W. Hey, hold on. X, Y, and Z. Now I know my alphabet sounds. Sing with me the next time around. And remember, every time you say around, and then you can do the different voices that I usually do. Sumo style. I mean, Chinese style. I mean, cat style. I mean, whatever. You just change it up. You make that 15 minutes so much fun that they want to go on. But you say, no, remember, I promised you something that begins with a p, 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 around. Do you remember what it is? Do you remember what it is? P. And they'll say, popsicle, yes! And then you go get the popsicle. But do your best to only do 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute promise. And the reason they're 15-minute promises is because they will begin to ask you for more promises, because you're training them that what you say is going to happen happens. What you say, you won't have to, you won't, you'll, let me see, how can I say, limit the times they'll say, but Mom, I thought you said, but Dad, didn't you say? But once you begin to tell them something, and one of the ways that I taught my children to depend on what I say is because I would say things like, what time is it? And I started early. What time is it? And I didn't have the digital clock. I would have the clock with the hands on, or the watch with the hands on it. What time is it? 2 and 3 years old, learning how to tell times. So much so that I said, if you know how to spell your whole name, that's when she was reading, know how to spell your whole name, then I will take you to get a Minnie Mouse watch. And we would go visit the Minnie Mouse watch. If not, I could have ordered offline, but it just so happened that they had one. I saw it, and then we would go once a week to visit that Minnie Mouse watch. So as we go along, you're making 15-minute promises. So they'll begin to depend on you becoming a man and a woman of your word. Not, I'm going to talk to you later and then don't follow through. You have to follow through with what you say. Okay? Okay, we went over that. Now, when your little one knows how to hold the pen or the pencil the correct way, that's when you begin to teach him the rule, which is to learn how to write a capital O, a lowercase o, a capital I, a lowercase I. Because once they learn how to write a capital O, a lowercase o, we're not saying ah, we're saying O, because we're teaching them how to write a capital O, a lowercase o, a capital I, a lowercase I. Now, I would prefer that this I had a circle at the top, but I haven't found it yet, except for on your alphabet sound chart. And you have a different one for the sounds and a different one for the letters. And the reason being is, I don't know if you can see this, but remember I told you that they're going to be so disappointed when their letter or their sound chart starts to tear. So what you're going to end up doing is, and you'll see in the latter part of this class, this is the one that they keep folded. They're putting it in their pocket. They're carrying it with them to school. They're going every place with this sound chart. So every day that you can give them a different sound to remember. Every day. And do your best to make sure it's the sounds that are in their name. Remember my name, Janice. Remember, in order to say those sounds, you take a deep breath. Janice. And it sounds like they're singing. Janice. And please, I mean, you can teach them to spell their whole name like this. To sound out their whole name. And if their name just happen to be Caddy as a nickname, teach them their real name, their birth name. Catherine. And help them to daily find their names, the letters or the sounds in their names. You start off with sounds. Once you get to this part right here, when they learn how to hold their pen or their pen and pencil, I don't know why I keep saying it, their spoon or fork, whatever one that you want them to eat with. And the reason I'm saying this is because there's a lot of time, when I first came to Portland, Oregon, I was still eating like this. You have to teach a child how to eat correctly. I was still eating like this. And I was so disappointed because I had to learn how to eat like this. And it took me forever to eat right, to hold my, I hold my pen or my pencil correctly, but not my spoon and fork when I was eating. That's how I know for a fact. I would practice writing all the time, but I still would hold my pen and pencil correctly. But I would eat just like this. Let me see if I can get this a little lighter. It seems like it's getting dark. So I'm hoping that you're getting this. You're finding out that what you're teaching them will help them to learn this up here. That's what I want the lesson to be about today. And if you can teach somebody to the point that they can read this, say for example, you're teaching a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, somebody that's still in high school, how to teach. That's what you're doing. Okay, I see what it is. When I stood up, it got lighter So I'm looking at it at a different angle. You're teaching someone how to become a natural hair care practitioner. Okay? Now let's click on this. Now these are this is, excuse me, the table of contents. So you're going to learn about natural hair care. You're going to learn about training module. You're going to learn about procedures, prohibitions. Now you see this right here? Hair defined, hair functions, hair structure, hair growth, hair character. Let's move this. Hair characteristics, diseases and disorders, styles and techniques, tools, Oregon laws and rules, examination, completion certificate. Okay, now check this out. This module right here is what can actually put you in a place where you can earn money for the skills that you already have. You're going to learn just from this module, and it's 147 pages. The way I did it is I took the 30 days, I divided it into 147, because even the completion certificate, that's when you pay. All the rest of it is basically free. And I went online and I saw weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks of training for thousands of dollars. And I'm like, thousands of dollars? All you got to do is learn one module? And you can learn it at home in the comfort of your own home? And but they will bring you to a school, or they will bring you to a classroom, or they will bring you to a, this is like a 1-week course. I mean, it could be, it depends on how many pages you read. I usually would do like 12 pages a day, because some of the pages have, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 2 pages. See, these first ones are 1 page. This is 2 pages. Now let's go a little bit faster. See? So I would group like maybe 27 pages together. It says natural hair care. Now remember, we're teaching our children what we're learning. And at the time that my little ones were little, I was a nurse's assistant or a med aide. And I would teach them all the different parts of the body as a nurse's assistant. To this day, my littlest one is a nurse's assistant, and she enjoys helping people. So what you're doing is you're presenting your kids, your children, your hearts a way to learn at a young age what you've learned at an older age, and begin to love and appreciate and to get good at. See, when you become something that has a title, a natural hair care practitioner, you can go further with that. You can become a beautician if you want. You can get your barber's license. You can get your nail, and see, what do you call nails? Besides the reads nails. I have to think of it in just a second. It's even in here. Okay, so let's begin. It's natural hair care. During the 2013 legislative session, House Bill 3409 passed, creating natural hair care as a field of practice under the Board of Cosmetology. The English version of what I just read, or the definition of what I just read, is that at one time this module was a part of the natural hair care. This module was a part of the Board of Cosmetology, part of the test that you had to spend months upon months to get a license in. You had to do practicals. You had to do like that. But what they did is they took it out of that, because there were some people so concerned that it can be done, that a bill passed, which is 3409, 3409, 3409 passed, creating a natural hair care as a field of practice. And then what do you get after you take that test is a license to do natural hair, whether it's straight, curly, short, long. It's like you didn't do anything to it. You can work on it. And that's what this module tells you about. Okay, so this is page number 5. This is 6. There is no formal education or school required to qualify for natural hair care certification. A training module has been provided to help familiarize individuals with the necessary information to practice natural hair care, in addition to the Oregon Revised Statutes and Oregon Administrative Rules governing natural hair care practitioners. This is what you become once you receive your license, once you take the test. Not go through the module, that's different. When you go through this module, the training that you're going to go through is going to show you what you need to become a licensed natural hair care practitioner. Once you start going over this module, what happens is you know exactly what you need. You find out that in the home that you're working in, or in the area that you're working in, you have to have a set apart. Like if this room that I'm using right now was where I did hair, it tells you what you need in that room. It tells you how to set up your room, how to set up your area, or what is what you need to provide. Okay, but look how short that page is. That's one training module, and that's telling you what this is. Okay, now here's the procedures. Okay, natural hair care includes the following procedures when performed upon human hair: natural fibers or synthetic fibers. Now, the reason that I read it like that is because when you're reading or teaching your little ones, you teach them in an attitude, or with an attitude of learning, not with an attitude of commanding, not with an attitude. It's like this is what they're going to have to do in order to learn how to read. They're going to, this is what they're going to have to do in order to learn how to write. You have to do this. This is something that you have to do. That's the same thing with the procedures. The procedures allow you to know that you are allowed to braid hair. You are allowed to cornrow hair, natural hair. You are allowed to extend hair. You are allowed to use lacing practices. You're allowed to lock hair. You're allowed to sew hair. You're allowed to twist hair. You're allowed to weave hair. You're allowed to wrap hair, and you're allowed to have hair extensions. If it's not so, it's going to tell you in this module within those 147 pages. If, going back to the child that's learning how to write, that's learning how to read, this is English. And the reason I'm saying that this is English is because in Spanish you have a CH sound. It's A, B, C, then che, de, e, f, he, jota, e. And I'm not teaching Spanish yet, but what I'm trying to explain to you is if you know how to write a lowercase I, a capital I, a lowercase o, a capital O. Because that's what you learn first. When you learn how to write, you learn how to write every letter and every number in the English language. I'm teaching English. I could say that for Spanish too. Because in Spanish, you have a sound that looks like this. Use a crayon. The name of this crayon is called magenta. That's the color. You have a sound that goes like this. It goes here, then it goes down, then it goes up. And it's called a nye sound. A nye. Nye. Or this way. Now that right there, that sound right there, nye, right, is made out of the O, lowercase o. It's not I. So when you're writing an O, you do it when you go here, come up, and down. Did you see that? That's why you have to know how to make a lowercase o, capital O. Some people are left-handed, so I make my O like this. Normally I start here and go here. And then another thing you're going to teach is this part of your hand relaxes or uses the table so that it can make sure that your pencil is stable. And see how I'm holding my pencil? It's just like I eat. Usually when children start to write, they hold their pen or pencil like this, or whatever, crayon, whatever. I don't know why I keep saying pen. That's why you teach them at the table. If they're not ready to hold their pencil like that, it's okay. What are they? 1, 2, 3. But they'll get it if you teach them at home. Not hollering, but very calm. Because you already know if they want to be a natural hair care practitioner like you want to be, that they're going to have to learn how to hold hair, how to hold things. If your teacher was howling at you, no, that ain't it. What's wrong with you? See, you would be like, I'm not paying this teacher all this money to learn how to do something just to be hollered at. Or I'm grown. Or you know how we act. We don't like to be hollered at. So I'm teaching you in a calm, cool, collective way to teach your children how to do what you know for a fact that they need to know how to do. And now there's a perfect opportunity to know how the teachers feel. The Father had given us an idea of how the teachers feel to teach our children. That's what he did. He blessed us. Okay? Now, and that's why it's called provably learning system. You have proof that what I'm teaching you is the truth. Okay, now your child has been practicing writing these letters. Like, Mom, please, Dad, help. I don't want to do that anymore. And you just teach them on a white piece of paper, no lines or nothing. When they get tired of doing it this way, then it becomes the art of writing. Okay? Then you get out this piece of paper that has lines on it. And you say, make a capital A. But it's already in a book, and the book has letters that look like this. Hold on. I'm trying to make it dark enough. Hopefully you can see that. Oops. It doesn't matter how long or how small or how big or how short. They'll eventually get it. Okay? Because before there's writing on a white piece of paper. No lines or nothing. But then when it comes to writing, so then you begin to tell them, You do the same down, 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 down. Stop. Connect those lines. Down, 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 down. Stop. And this is across, 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 across. Okay? So when you say down, 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 stop, down, 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 stop, they're used to that. There's your capital A. Down, 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 stop. Down, 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 stop. Then you go across. Okay? Capital B. Down, 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 stop. And they start here. Okay? Can't really see it. There's that same motion. Okay? Capital C. Lowercase c. Capital D. Down, 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 stop. Then you make an up curve, and come all the way around. You make an up curve, come all the way around. You make another up curve, another up curve. That's a capital B. Excuse me, who's supposed to be doing capital D? Make an up curve. So you go down, 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 stop. Then you make a up curve, down curve, up curve, down curve, up curve, down curve, up curve, up curve, down curve. That's for D. Capital E. Down, 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 stop. Then you make this cross. Stop, cross, stop, and then you make a cross in the middle. See the same motions that you use. Okay, capital F. Down, 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 stop, cross. You're just telling them where to go in the middle. So you've already told them where the middle is. Capital G. Up curve, down curve. You already know how to make a C, remember? And then you put that line across. That line across. Capital F, capital G, capital H. These are the lines you're going to use. Capital I, right there. Capital J. I already know how to make that one. Capital J. You go down, 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 bottom curve. That's the bottom curve right there. And you make it when you're making an O. That's the up curve. That's the down curve. See, this is up, that's down. This is up, that's down. This is up, that's down. Up curve, down curve. Up curve, down curve. What about a capital L? Down, 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 down. Stop. Then line across from the bottom. See, same line. And you see how my hand is still resting? And then the children use their imaginations. That's beautiful. Okay, so now we got, let's see what all we went over so far. Capital O, lowercase o, capital I, lowercase I. Right. Okay, writing paper. When they're first starting out, they are not writing. You're starting them with reading sounds. That's why we have our sound chart. We folded it, we made it. We continually fold it. We're showing them a different letter, putting a different letter in their pocket every day for them to remember. And then you ask them things. It's 9 o'clock, you know, or 8 o'clock, whenever they have to go to bed. Ed. Ed. And then you find it for them, okay? Hold on. Of course, we have all age groups in here. This is math for the older. I'm going to show you how to fill this in. Probably not today. But this is a math problem in itself. We have to average out. We're going to average out. Sorry about that. This is a math problem in itself. We're going to average out how many words or how long it takes us or like that. You choose the word problem and then you help your child solve it. They learn how to write by holding their spoon correctly. Even if they have to hold it with 2 hands to get it up to their mouth. Sometimes they do that. But if you let them work with 2 hands, then you can teach them something that's not hard, but teach them how you hold your hair to plait it. There's I think she's 7-year-old. She's probably younger than that, but she knows how to plait hair. She makes hairstyles and everything. Has her own little show. Then YouTube it. You'll find her. See, whatever you teach your child, that's what they're learning. The first book we read is Who Gets What, and we talked about the pictures. We tried to not tried, but we found the letters in that we were asking them to find. I like this book because it has the questions in it already. Who Gets What? It was talking about Mr. Lopez likes fish, and it's so one day, okay, he went okay, so one day he went fishing and he went to the lake. He thought of the fish cooking. It made him hungry. At last he got a fish. He started cooking it for dinner. But along came a bear. The bear liked fish too. So the bear got the fish and Mr. Lopez got away. All right, let me see if I can make this better. Hold on one second. I can straighten it a little more. Because the first time you read it, it's going to be with no hand. The second time you read it, it's going to be with their little hand. Because you're trying to make this last for 15 minutes, okay? So it says, you're holding a little hand. Who gets what? That right there is a question mark. Can you say question mark? Mr. Lopez likes fish. This right here is a period. This is a period. So one day he went fishing, period. He went to the lake, period. He thought of the fish cooking, period. It made him hungry, period. At last he got a fish, period. He started cooking it for dinner, period. But along came a bear, period. The bear liked fish too, period. So the bear got the fish, period. And Mr. period Lopez got away, period. Okay. Can you show me Mr. Lopez? And then you take their finger and you point to Mr. Lopez. Can you show me the tent? You take their little finger and you touch the tent. Can you show me the bear? Very good. Can you show me the fork? Very good. Can you show me the knife? Very good. Can you show me two trees? One, two. Remember, whatever it takes to make this lesson stay at 15 minutes. Okay? And you can get these books or you can get copies of these lessons, but remember, you have to 971-208-9711, or you have to leave it in the message. uh, you have to leave it in the message. You have to leave it in an email. And the reason being, because sometimes I've noticed that I don't get the messages on YouTube until weeks later, and I've already went to something else. So that's why I'm saying, if you do text 971-207-9711, you'll get me. You'll get a response quicker. Okay? So he says, how well did you understand? Now, see, if you read each question, you write A or B. So what is this story about? Is the story about knowing when to give up? Or is this story about fishing with a bear? Is this, and then you have to tell them that no matter what age you're teaching, it doesn't matter if they're in high school and you teach them this lesson, you tell them why you're teaching it so that they can have an opportunity to tutor somebody. If you understand this and the strategy of tutoring, this is a strategy here. You know that you have to ask questions. Are you getting it? Do you understand what I'm saying? And if they say no and you're teaching math, then you have to figure another way to turn math around so that it makes it easy to understand. We didn't get there yet. It's over here. We didn't get there yet. But this technique of proofly system is so easy, and you use it no matter what age. If you're teaching math, did you understand what I just said? See, how well did you understand? If they say, no, I still don't get it, then you teach them an easier way to learn. And one of the easiest ways to teach your child is to teach them with what they like. If you find out that your child likes trucks, get them a book about trucks. Don't read this book, but get them a book about trucks. You found out that they like cars. Get them a book about cars. You found out that they like blocks. Get a book about blocks. You found out that they like trains. Get a book about trains. Now, I know you got that part. If you found out that they like building blocks, get them a book about, okay. And then ask questions. Who guessed what? Or how many building blocks? Or why is the little girl crying? I mean, whatever your book is about, you read the title, okay? Tell them who it's written by. This is our first book. And you see how long it takes them to get the book. Don't go to another book because it said go to this book. You stay on the book until they get what you're talking about. They get all the answers correct. And they have books just like this. And then you look for words on their chart. Today we're going to look for this word. Today we're going to look for this word. Today on your sound chart, we're going to look for this word, and then you look for it. Okay, get your sound chart. Where's your sound chart? And then give them some tickle problems. Trying to find it. Is it in this pocket? No, stop. Tickle, 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 tickle. Is it in this pocket? Is it in your shoe? Take their shoe off. Tickle their toes. Tickle their feet. Let them know that this is it's an enjoyment to learn. It's a joy to learn. Let them know that. Okay, let's see what word we're gonna find. Let's go to this side. B, E, R. Remember that deep breath, because just in case you can't find it real quick, like I just did with the R. Okay, B, air, B, air. Oh, we found it. We found it. Okay. All right. Now, I don't know if you remember this, so we're going to go over this one again. Let's use our new piece of paper because that one's kind of messed up. Let's use a little piece. I have a lot of these. I was going to use this one. It's a reminder to talk about money. Anytime, and I mentioned the period because in math you use a period, in reading you use a period, and in writing you use a period. Okay, when you're reading in this period, it means stop. When you're writing and it means period, and you use a period. When you're reading and you see a period, it means stop. When you're writing and you use a period, depending on where you're at, if you're using it in a sentence, that means stop. If you're using it in math, that means multiply. And it means money. Anytime you see this sign, it means money or multiplication. You have to multiply. If you see it like this, that reads $1 because it's used as a decimal. Okay. And anytime you see that it's written, or you see it written like that, meaning you use 3 digits, it means dollar. If you see those numbers without the period, it reads 100. That equals 3 digits. If you use 1 digit first, that's 0. It's not the letter O. If you hear digit or number, that's 0. Okay. If it's 2 digits, it's tens. And anytime you say 2 digits, you will be saying like either 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 is a 3 digits, so you stop there. Okay, because in order to write 100, see, it uses 1, 2, 3 digits. Okay, now the thing that we forget when we go to the 2 digits is to remind the children about the ones. So for example, if we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that means that's the ones column. So if you put anything to the left of the ones column, that's the tens. Because remember, tens, 20, 30. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a 1 here, a 2 here, a 3 there, a 4 there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 2 digits. So that's in the tens. Because in order to get a 10, you have to have 1, 2, 1, 2. See, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But if I put a 3 digit number, It reads hundreds. I'm gonna show you how to do that, how to remember that. I don't know if you can really see that, but I'll say the number. So in order to read that as 100, you as 3 digits. So you go 111, because these 2 digits read 11. 222. And remember, you have to hear 20, 30, 40. See, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. You have to hear that number. So 111. Okay, here we go. You got to hear 20. 220. 2. You got to hear 30. 333. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 400. You got to hear 40. 40. 4. See, you hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 500. You got to hear 50. 555. So now you're hearing all the digits. And you don't hear it in this because there is no 11. You know how it says 20. So you don't say 10. 110, 1. See see, you don't say that. So you have to say the number itself, and the number itself is 11. Okay, because I added a 1. Because when you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And remember, I told you down here, if I put a 10, that would be a double digit. So it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And if I put a 2 here, we're going to just put a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now listen. You got to hear the 100. I should have put a 1 there. You got to hear the 100, and you have to hear the 100, the word 100, because it's 3 digits. You have to hear 100, 3 digits, 100. How many digits? 3 digits equals hundreds. 4 digits, and we're not to it yet, equals 1,000. But in order to read 1,000, you have to put a comma. I'm looking in the wrong way. I'm looking over the camera. That's why I can't really see it. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because if you say 10, it's 2 digits. That's the 10 right there. Okay, so it's 111, 222, 333. Because you're saying 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. 444. 555, 666, 777, 888, 999. Okay? And remember, if it's 4 digits, you have to put a comma. And this is how you can tell where you put the comma at. Okay? Let me write a long number. Okay. So when you put a comma and to know where to put a comma, you have to count spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, start here. 1, 2, 3. You start here. 1, 2, 3. So it's go 1, 2, 3. Because you're counting spaces. So this is a space. There's a space after the 9. So you go 1, 2, 3. Then from that space, 1, 2. Sorry, 1, 2, 3. Now from that space, you go 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to put a, what do you want there? 25? Okay, 3 means billion. 2 commas is million. So it would be 23,456,789. So 2 commas read million, 3 comma reads billion. And let's do it again. 23 million. Remember I told you 1 comma reads thousand, 2 comma reads million, 3 comma reads billion. Okay? So it's or 123,456,789. Or if you hide that one, 23,456,000, every 3 numbers, but if it's a comma there, so it's 456,000. See, because as if it's 1 comma, 456,789. So these are things that you practice, and you have to remember, because the number placement helps out a lot. And I'm going to show you how you can tell. Yes, I'm leaving you to look at that. I'm putting this over here to the right because we went over it too. So you go 1, 2, 3, and it's only 1 comma gets to go here. And so what you do is you get out another piece of paper to practice. And don't be afraid to practice. If somebody tell you, excuse me, if no one tells you to not to do it, just do it on your own, especially if you're older and you don't know. And then ask questions. Is this right? Remember, don't be afraid to ask questions. If it's wrong, then text Miss Janice 971-208-9711. There are little ones out there that are asking questions. How do you remember the number placements? And in order to remember the number placements, you got to learn your symbols, because reading, writing, and math always go together. You use a comma for a pause. Use a period for a stop when you're reading. Johnny, comma, Marie, comma, Esther, comma, Evelyn went to this and wait, Johnny, Marie, Esther, and Evelyn. So if you're reading and you see the commas, you go Johnny, Marie, Esther, and Evelyn went to the store. Okay? Johnny, comma, Marie, comma, Esther, comma, and like that. You have to remember what the symbols represent in reading, writing, and math. They all go together. If you're reading and you see a comma, it means pause. If you're reading and if you're doing math and you see a comma, it reads 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, wherever you see that first comma at. And in math, you write math starting from the, you write math starting from the right, but you read math the regular way to the left. That's what this problem is. You write math, right? So we're writing math. So we wrote the numbers. Let's see. Let me give you another number. I'm just going to write a lot of numbers. Now, if you look at it, this is either capital a capital I, lowercase I, a capital O, or lowercase o. All of these are. All of these numbers. See, this is the up curve. This is the down from the capital I. And this is the letter, the top cross from the capital I. This is the up curve on the lowercase or capital O. This right here line is the like that. So it is all the same. You just have to learn how to write a capital I, lowercase I in order to write all these numbers. Okay. The way you tell where the commas go is you go 1, 2, 3, comma. 1, 2, 3, comma. See? You see there's three numbers? There's three numbers. 1, 2, 3, comma. 1, 2, 3, comma. 1, 2, 3. Then write the comma. 1, 2, 3. Then write the comma. 1, 2, 3. So quadrillion, but we're going to read from the thousand. So that's 5,000. See, remember one comma. Okay. And we've only learned three, so we're going to go to three commas so we can cross everything else out. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All the rest of this can be crossed out. Okay. So 500, remember I said to read it, you go from the, to write it, you go from the left, to write the problem, you do the problem from the right to the left. To read the problem, you do it the same way you read, from the left to the right. So it's 520 billion 47. See, that's not a number. 40. You don't say 520 billion 046. No, you read it the way you read a number. Okay, 520 billion 47 million 545,082. Because remember, it's two digits. This is a 0, so that doesn't count. It's just holding a space for you to know what the number is. And the same, 520 billion 47 million 545,082. Okay. So if you know how to count from quadrillion, or you want to learn how to count from quadrillion to whatever, and let me see how the best way I can teach you. There's no such thing as a million. Okay, let's do, I mean 1,000 million. A million. No, it's a million because there's no 1,000 because 1,000 is a million, like that. But you just keep practicing on your own. See, even though we have all these numbers right here, right? You go from what you know. So this will be considered a million, and there's no such number as a million. So it's quadrillion, cotillion, like that. Okay. And then do the math. Just, ask what's higher than a million? What's higher than a trillion? What's higher than a gazillion? Like that. Just you ask those types of questions. And then when someone gets to the point of, I can answer it, but it's going to take some time, then you start learning from that, or ask that individual math questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone is going to try to answer your questions, then you continually ask them questions until you get it. Like, but how did you get that? What made you know that? I can only count up to a million because I remember being taught that 3 commas equal million, and then three numbers equal 100, or two numbers equal, not numbers, digits. 2 digits equal tens, like 80, 90. Because if I count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. But if I say 100, that's 3 digits. So 100, 200, 300, 400. If I say 900, there is a 1000, but that's 1,000 because I'm using 4 numbers. And then when I write that fourth number, I have to put a comma to remind me that 1 comma equals 1,000. So 1,300, 2,400, 3,500, 4,600, like that. So I know that if I use 4 numbers right after that fourth number, because remember, you write numbers from the left, but you do the problems going to the right. Okay, I'm hoping I'm helping you. So write this number down, and it tells you right here, 3 digits equal hundreds. See, 168, 431, 471, 544, 638, 676, 795. So just look at it for a little bit, and I'm gonna come back. I'm not going anywhere, but let me see if I can lower this so I can get closer. No, if I let it go, it's gonna fall. Figured it out. Okay, so we learned about sewing, twisting, or we're learning about natural hair care includes the following procedures when performed upon human hair, natural fibers or synthetic fibers. And sometimes there are mannequins that you can practice on. I think Amazon sells mannequins. Amazon, eBay sells ebay.com, ebay.com, Amazon, Amazon.com. Or you can just like do a search engine and find out ways to practice. Okay? All right, so let's go one more over. Okay, now these are not included. See, prohibitions. Natural hair care does not include penetrating chemical hair treatments such as hair coloring, hair joining, hair bleaching, no chemicals, hair straightening. You're just working with the natural hair. Like if you wash your hair and your hair is 4C, or I don't know what other numbers right now, but it's telling you what you can work with as natural hair. You cannot use chemicals in a person's hair. You cannot take it out of its original form. I'll put it that way. Like if you already work on hair, you personally cannot put in bleach. You, us, we, natural hair care practitioners cannot, it says it right there, does not include penetrating chemical hair treatments such as hair coloring, hair joining. And the beautiful part about becoming a natural hair care practitioner, you will like it better than um, not knowing what to do, because you get tested on it. And once you take that test and you get that license, you'll find out, uh-oh, I'm not supposed to do that. And then there'll be that one person that don't care whether you lose your license or not. I'll pay you $70. It's like, if you want to do any type of hair, practice on any type of hair, then you take the class to learn how to do any type of hair. But as a natural hair care practitioner, you hear me, listen, no, does not, cannot, is not included. You can't do it. No, because you want to protect your license. If nobody else wants to, you protect your license. You do what you have to do to protect the license that you got. It's a real license. I will go over it again, but I'm not. Okay, hair defined. This is natural human hair. This is what comes out of your head. Is an appendage of the skin, which is a slender thread-like cylinder of impacted protein and keratinized cells that is an outgrowth of the epidermis layer of skin. And remember how I told you that when you're teaching children sounds, so you got one right there, hair, reads hair. Or you can go, say the sound, hair, say the sound, hair. And then you could tell what it is. Remember, I was talking about phalanges and glutamus maximus is behind us. I'm teaching someone that's 2 years old how to do their name, how to read their name, how to spell their name, how to remember the sounds that are in their name. Hyla, hair. You have it on your head. You're always carrying around the sounds that are in your name, honey. And then once they get those sounds, you teach them more. Hair is an appendage of the skin, which is a slender thread-like cylinder of impacted protein and keratinized cells that is an outgrowth of the epidermis layer. And of course, you're going to see pictures. Hair functions. The primary function is to insulate the body from the heat and cold and to protect the head from injury and physical trauma. The secondary function is adornment. Isn't that cool? I mean, we are learning how to be natural hair care practitioners so that we can function as our own business. I mean, there are times in the when you're reading about the laws and the functions, what you can do, what you need to have if you want to start your own hair care um, place. There are even one license that you can get. It's called an independent practitioner license. So you personally have to know what you have to have in your shop or in your facility. There are rules, there are regulations, there are laws, there are statutes. You'll hear these words as you're learning how to work with natural hair so that you can become a natural hair care practitioner. It's more than just a name. It's an environment, it's a lifestyle, it's a it's a treat if you want to be a natural hair care practitioner. Um, Different states have different rules, and you're going to learn that also. Okay, we're on page 10, and I hope you're still looking at those numbers. This right here is one of the paws that's holding up the camera, that's holding the paper straight. Okay. Okay, so here's the hair structure. Hair, human hair, is divided into two parts. They're under the skin parts and over the skin parts. So it's hair root and hair shaft. And if you look real close at the diagram, the hair shaft is what comes out of, and then you look at what this is, the skin. The dermis is under the skin. This is what's under the skin. There's vessels, meaning blood vessels, subcutaneous tissue that's under the skin. You ever got a opening in your skin, or a cut or bruise, and you can see it under the skin, that layer of skin? There are glands under there, follicles, roots, just like any other root is attached to a blood vessel, is attached to what makes it grow. I like plants. To me, hair reminds me of plants. Okay, I got one. What is, or how would you say this number right here? So you want to write it down, 93579. Okay, give you a little chance to think about that. Now we just saw how the structure of the hair is, and now it's giving you all the attributes, or that you can remember, focus on, the structure, or the hair root. So we already had a structure. That's one of them. And remember, structure takes up a few pages. So the hair root is located below the surface of the epidermis, which is the outer layer of the skin, and composed of five main parts: the fol the fol the follicle, the follicle, the erector pili, sebaceous gland, the bulb, and the papilla. Okay, so there's five parts, and what I suggest is to try to make this out of a word. So you can put FABS and then put the P at the top so that you can remember fabs. See, fabs, or SPAB, so that you can remember them. It's called an acronym, or like, in order for me to remember fractions, I said, please, my dear Aunt Sally. So I remembered P was for the parentheses. So whatever is in the parentheses, you have to get rid of the parentheses first. Then if you have any multiplication, you have to multiply. Then if you have any dividing, you have to divide. Then if it's adding, you have to add, and then the last one was subtract. S. My, please, parentheses, my, multiply, dear, divide, aunt, add, subtract. My dear aunt, please, my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, so in order to remember something, what you do is, and you say it out so that you can hear, so you can begin to put this in your atmosphere, in your environment, because you're turning into a natural hair care, a licensed, I'm sorry, natural hair care practitioner. The beautiful part about being a natural hair care practitioner is that we already do hair. We already do our own hair. Let me see if I can turn the camera around. Well, maybe they'll show you another one. Hold on. Okay, the hair root. just reminds you of a plant that's in some dirt, because we are made out of dirt, and the hair comes out of our body. We water it by people that say, "Oh, your hair looks so nice and so shiny. What are you doing to make it that way?" One of the best answers is you tell them how much water you drink. If you don't drink water, or a lot of water, or enough water, or if your hair's not getting protein, or one of these days I'm gonna show y'all how I make rice water. I'm gonna tell you the ingredients. I use like filtered water, or water that I would normally use for coffee or tea, hot water. Just put it in that pot, put that water in the pot, and let it go through the coffee maker. I only drink tea, so I mean I could drink coffee, but so yeah, anyway, and then I take it and put it over a quarter cup of rice. Yes, you got to learn measurements when you're doing math. Then I put I fill that I used all of that water and put it in a container, a glass container, and then I use the peel of an orange or lemon or tangerine or something like that to give it a different smell, because once you put it in for over 24 hours it smells, it kind of ferments, and it has a very pungent odor. It's like kimchi. I love kimchi, and people are very not happy with the smell. I'll put it that way. Like, what is that smell? And they really don't like. But I love it. I love this. Oh, somebody got kimchi. Who got kimchi? Can I have some? That's me. There's what is that smell? It's like, oh, kimchi. I love kimchi. The total opposite. So the smell doesn't get me, but people. I mean, one time I went out with my sister, and she said, your clothes smell molded. And I said, it's not my clothes, it's my hair. I said, smell my hair. And she said, well, it smells different. I said, it's my hair. I mean, I know it's my hair because I've been washing my clothes by hand forever. Not by hand, but I'm air drying my clothes forever. And anyway, I know it's my hair, but it's making my hair grow. I'm willing to put up with it. And I also use what is the name of it? ECO. It smells so pretty. I don't know what smell they put in it. So I put that in my hair too, because it has black castor oil and flaxseed and like that, but oils. It has oils in it. Okay. So I'm giving you a hint now, and the number you're trying to find the answer to is the one that reads. Write it down: 93579. Okay. Let's go to the next one, page 13. Structure, which is the follicle. So we did the last one, structure. Now this one is follicle. The follicle encompasses the hair root and determines texture and curl formation. Now you'll hear people say, I have 4C hair. That's the only one I've heard so far. So that's the only one, you know, that I talk about. But this is the structure. This is a part of structure. It's the follicle. Okay. And remember, it has 5 parts. The structure consists of 5 parts. This is the second one. Erector pili. The erector pili is an involuntary muscle attached to the underside of the follicle. Now, the one way that you can remember this is because it says muscle. The muscle is sensitive to fear or cold, which causes it to contract. And you've ever looked at your hair to see if it's you know, like just sticking straight up. Like, oh, the hairs on the back of my neck, I can just tell they're rising. That's where you get those kind of, it's the erector pili. It's that muscle that's sensitive to fear or cold, which is which causes it to contract. It's a contraction of your hair that you're feeling. Oh, the hair on the back of my neck is just rising. Look, the hair on my arm is rising. Especially if like static, you know, you're pulling something apart and you hear pop 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 pop, or you shock somebody. That's what we call it. Okay, so I'm just giving you something to compare it to, because remember, everybody learns this way by motivation, association, um, the use of your senses, and repetition. And that's how I teach. That's how I tutor. And it's a method that really works, and it's called proofily. And these are true, proven methods that fully work. They work to the highest extent of, oh, I didn't know that. Because sometimes when you learn something, and you remember because you didn't. I remember when I learned that there's bones in our ear. I'm like, huh? Now I'm learning that there are muscles in our hair. See, the muscle is sensitive to fear or cold, which causes it to contract. You see what I'm saying? So when you learn something, you can associate it. Now you can associate a muscle with your head, with your hair. But what is that muscle called? It's called erector pili. Okay? There's another one, sebaceous gland. The sebaceous gland provides the follicle with the natural oils or sebum, which adds luster and pliability to the hair and scalp. Sometimes people say, "Oh, my hair is so dry. I can't even get a comb through it. I can't," or I don't even want to comb it because it's going to just break off. So we have to think about structure when it comes to our glands, when it comes to the muscles. When see, your hair is a living thing. It becomes brittle, it becomes dry, it becomes moist, soft. It holds moisture. I've heard that about hair. It becomes pliable. Oh, look at how shiny her hair. Her hair just moves. Wow, her hair is really healthy. You see, you hear all this about hair, not about skin, not only about skin, not only about, but we hear different things about our hair now because it's the only time I learned or heard about a gland. When I first heard this word sebaceous gland, I was thinking about taste. Oh, it makes that's making my mouth so my sebaceous glands like oh look, you know, I used to say stuff like that when it came to food. When I was learning how to cook, I went to cooking school. I mean, you learn specific things, how to associate something with something to make you remember it. Like in order for me, a lot of times to remember a person's name, I say, "Oh, I never heard anybody with that name before," so I would have to remember it another way. Because usually, if I hear a name, I usually compare it to another person because I know the name. Oh, my sister's name is there. Oh, I will never forget your name. Oh yeah, I remember that because that's what I normally would say. But when we're learning about hair and hair follicles, just like what we're doing with math, we're learning about number placements as we're learning about hair. And we're learning it in such a way because we're finding the different symbols that we can relate to and remember when we do math. Because if you're reading, that's a stop sign. This right here, symbol, that's a stop symbol. This symbol right here means take away. But if we're reading it in a sentence, it separates words. Another symbol is the forward slash. Another symbol is the backward slash. Another symbol, and you learn those in dollar signs, question marks. You learn those when you're doing programming. If you ever hear a little one say, "Oh, I hate math," it's because they haven't learned or remembered what makes math. What makes a math problem? What makes uh, a fraction? Money does. What makes an algebra problem? Reading, writing, math. Adding, dividing, multiplying, subtractions. What makes money is a fraction. The fractions equal money. Anytime you put the word decimal in there, you can write a fraction. If you see a decimal, you can change it to a fraction. It also means that symbol right there also is a decimal if you're reading math. But you have to figure out what relates to what. And then you have to repeat it like repetitiously or use it. I remember when I was going through the course, just studying the course, and I was tutoring the course, and as I was studying, like right now, and I just kept going over it. And one of my students, we would just laugh because we was talking about sebaceous gland and the nerves, and we was learning the frontal lobe, we was talking about different areas of the hair, the skull, and we would laugh every time because we were literally talking it to remember the parts of the hair that we needed to remember, the parts of the head, excuse me, that we needed to remember that had hair, or the parts of the body. See, hair bulb. So when your hair, when you just, oh, I, about 5 of my hair bulbs came out today. How do you know there was a hair bulb? I looked, I saw at the end, there was a little dot right at the end. So I know it came out at the root, is located at the very bottom of the hair root, which fits over and covers the papilla. Now, if you remember that structure, that picture from the beginning, I should have printed it out so that I can put it in this little box right here. But I didn't because we're going to go over it again. Okay, now you talked about the papilla in the last one. It says the papilla is a small root area at the base of the hair that is filled with an ample supply of rich blood and nerves and nourishes the hair and stimulates growth and regeneration, right? Now, we know that our body is like probably 90% water. The majority of our body is water. So if we know that the majority of our body is water, this is what I did. I don't know what you all do to your hair, but I keep my hair moist with this rice water that I was telling you about. And if you have been following Miss Janice on Facebook or YouTube, you've seen the bald spots, you've seen the missing hair areas. That's another word for bald spots. You've seen, just everything, pictures, when there was just one group of hair right in the middle of my head, and then that group of hair went away because I started putting castor oil on it and massaging it in. But then you notice that when I started with the rice water, how the hair just grew. It just grew. Starting off week 1, you just saw hair grow, grow, grow. And then I just started, talking about it. And so now I'm going over the test part of how I became a natural hair practitioner to allow me to even just want to even do stuff with my hair. You learn about it, not by just doing YouTube videos, but you take that a little bit further. How can I learn about more about hair? How can and it the natural hair care practitioner license came up and I just applied for it. I took the test and passed it with flying colors. Mm. And so far, this is all I've done. I've I've taught how to make what you do more important so that you can see a base for why you teach your little one how to read. Because, see, there's no one's arms that's going to go around your little one at school unless, you give them permission. You see what I'm saying? But you, as you're training them at home to read and to do math and to measure and to use a ruler and to tie their shoe, and as you do take the time to do all that, you also teaching them future stuff because it's like what Father did in the beginning when he created the tree. He also created a chair, and he put that idea into man's head. He also created paper and books and but he put the idea of how to do it in our brains. We think like him. And that's what we're doing for our children. We're allowing them to think like us. I never uh, did not expect my children to work. But when they were coming up and they didn't know what to do, they didn't know what they wanted to be. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And sometimes they wouldn't know, because they little minds change. And when they wouldn't know, I said, even if you decide to be a bum, be the best bum, be the cleanest bum, be the nicest bum, have people wanting to take you into their home or take you to eat meals or and have the other bums, and I call it bums because I didn't know that's what we learned to call them. Like now, even if you decide to just be homeless, you know, go into you're hungry, you go into a store. I'm not a store, but like a Burger King, a McDonald's, and just start working. Picking stuff off the floor, going in and asking for a broom, um, or and just you find a job to get a meal. You don't have to be homeless like everybody else. Be nice. Be, ma'am, sir, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Be helpful. I go in I go into to just regular stores like Fred Meyer or whatever, and I'll ask, can I? Do you have a spray bottle with a rag? And they will say, yeah, what do you need it for? And while you're just cashiering, I was going to wipe down the counter for you. Because there's water spilled here, or let me get up this water that's on the floor right here or over there, or I'll stand in the spot. I mean, all the time. It's not just, oh, I ain't doing it because it ain't my job. Okay, well, if someone falls, this is your store. I call every place my store. What are you doing in my store? If I see one of my friends, what are you doing in my store? Okay, let's get back to work. So that number, if the comma, first of all, is between the 3 and the 5, and that number reads 93,000 because there's only one comma, 500 because it's in the third place. Because remember, when you're reading, you're going 1, 2, 3. So that means that if you can have a comma, you have to put it in between the fourth and the third, the first and the second number. Right? That's because you read it from the left to the right. But when you're working the problem out, because it's a problem until you solve it. So you solved it already. You've counted over 3 spaces. So you went from the right side of the 9 and begin to count. Ones, that's between the 7